Okay, we're going to start chapter 12, creating specific views and match lines. It's going to go hand in hand with what we learned in chapter 11, a little more advanced, but also more thoroughly from chapter 3, when we learned how to create views initially. We're going to dial in a floor plan appearance, and for the most part is the idea, and then we're going to duplicate it to other views and adjust it very little. So we'll see what that means in a minute, but start with going to chapter 12, getting your NER 12 file, downloading it, starting it, and we'll begin in floor plan 1. So what I said is we start this chapter by dialing in views and then replicating them and using them, moving them around, manipulating them, and combining them with a match line to make multiple views. So the process of duplicating a view to create another is pretty easy. It's straightforward. There's a lot riding on the hope you proceed with its function correctly, but it's not as simple as a copy and paste as the book mentions. It is a little more to it than that, but not much. Revit, it's all inclusive with the type of files the book mentions, in that it tries to keep everything in one, every view, everything within one very much as possible. Even in the last chapter, when we brought in AutoCAD details, we brought in a static detail, but we could have linked those details to update in AutoCAD to keep live in Revit. And that's something we'll do later in this course if we have the time. So most of what we're going to get is still going to stay within the project browser. Even that, when we learn how to do Revit link files, they're still in the bottom here too. So moving on, we'll go to page 616. And we're going to start in level 1. And we're going to start by right-clicking and saying duplicate, and duplicate with detailing. So there's a big difference in duplicating and duplicating with detailing. Duplicating is like duplicating the whole model, just the model, and duplicate with detailing takes everything with it, all the dimensions, tags, section views, various things. That is a very critical part of this. So that's essentially the difference. Duplicate only copies the geometry of the model, the walls, interior walls. So we're going to start by saying duplicate with detailing. And we're going to have a default copy once it thinks for a minute. That's going to fall right under for level 1. We're going to call this level 1 furniture plan. Essentially, we're trying to make our next view based off the first one. So ideally, if you were modeling in Revit, to the best of your ability, you would try to make level 1 look how you want to from a good base perspective before you go to level 1 furniture plan. So that's not always easy to know when and how to do until you've maybe done a few models, but that's the general smart flow, is to get it looking 90% there before you create this, is kind of the idea going on to page 617. So we're going to make sure we're still in level 1 floor plan, which we're not right now. Make sure we're on it, not the copied one we just made. Let's even close that so we don't get confused. And we're going to go to the visibility graphics, which is here, as we've been learning, or you type in VG. And now, in level 1 floor plan, we're going to take out some things. So we copied and made our new floor plan view with furniture and casework, cabinetry and stuff. And now we're going to go back to the original floor plan and turn off those things. That's kind of the idea here. What is the idea, really? Turn off that, turn off furniture and furniture systems. We'll just hit OK. So now when we add furniture or casework, even if we add it here, it will only show up in this view, not in level 1 general floor plan. So that was the whole purpose of that. And re-emphasizing that in visibility graphics overrides, you're only editing that view in here. Or if you type in VG. I'll hit escape once, type in VG. You're only editing this view I'm in, which is currently floor plan level 1. Moving on to creating a dependent view. You create a dependent view very much the same way you duplicate a view, what we just did. Essentially, the function in reality of a dependent view is to nest within a duplicate view of the host or parent from the view which you're duplicating. And then this nested view, which remains dependent of the host or parent in the terms of how it's viewed graphics wise. That's the key. How it's viewed graphically is really the key. In the view properties, it becomes dependent under it. So you can have multiple dependent views categorized under a host view, and we're about to do that with some of these views. And then within that, we're going to make some match lines. So we're going to take the original level 1 floor plan, and we're going to right click again, learn some more new commands. I'm going to say this time duplicate as a dependent. So it's going to have a plus sign underneath it. That's how you can see it's a dependent right here. We're going to go back to level 1 again, same thing. Say duplicate view and duplicate as a dependent. Now we have 2 different dependent views underneath level 1 originally. I'm just going to go in this order. I'm going to say level 1 to rename them. East. And level 1 west. We're going to edit their bounds later and everything. So we have the views duplicated and nested below the host view. We're going to divide the main level 1 floor plan now. We're going to adjust the crop region of it. So let's see what that means on the next chapters, the next section on adjusting crop regions of views. Pretty key part of Revit really is every view in Revit has a crop region. We can't always see them. We can see them now. We have some of them turned on. If we hover on it, we have 2 different types of the crop region we'll talk about later. Level 1, that is turned. Some of these views, let's go to corridor roof. It's not, oh, it is on this one. My mistake. On level 2, it is not on. There is a crop view around it. We just can't see it. We're going to learn about that in a minute. We can turn it on and off. Every view has a crop to some degree. So let's stay on level 1. But if we go into, we go into page 620, it wants us to go into level 1 west to start. And we're going to select the crop view or the crop because its default is to show first. And this is our west view. So think we're going to show this, right? Drag this right about here. It's probably good. And release the grip. And let's go into level 1 east. Do similar. But let's make them kind of in the same region. The goal is to overlap them, but not be exact. Release it right about there. Let's go back to the primary view, the host, the parent view, level 1 floor plan. And we're going to turn on something new here. I don't think we've done this before. Is we're going to show the crop region by going down here in the view controls area. We're going to turn that on. Now we can see what we just did. We have this view here and this view here, the ones we just made. It's good they're overlapping. We want that. We want it to overlap in the corridor. That's the end of page 621. So we got that going. You can see that by the dashed lines if I hover between these. So turn that on here, or here, on and off. You can also do it here as well in the properties. We'll talk about that later a little more. So there's 2 different grips. One is for the actual crop region, and the other one is for the annotation crop region. So the first one, this one, is for the model crop region, and that is everything in the model. A lot of times, well, that means walls, anything dynamic in the model. This outside one, if I pick it, pick on this one, this is the annotation crop, the dashed one. So anything text-wise, you might want to expand it so you can see your annotations, dimensions, whatever. That happens quite a bit in views in Revit. You have to have it go further out so you can see text, but you want to have it dialed in the inner one, the crop region, to show the model. So they work hand in hand. So at the bottom of page 622, we'll go back into level 1 west. And we're going to select the crop region. We really just talked about this. We said we got our model crop region here, and we got our annotation crop region. They're separate, do separate things to isolate how the view is shown. And this is available in any view in Revit. Keep in mind, not just this view, any view. This can be brought up, what I'm talking about. Annotation crop and model crop. And once again, they're saying at the bottom of page 623, you can turn things on here. So you might have got a file or people mess with a view. Check these settings. If you're not seeing anything selectable, go in here in your view, whatever view it might be, and turn these on. A few people had those off for whatever reason. Now going to page 624, we're going to talk about match lines. And match lines, like I was saying, if I go to a file, they're just matching up areas of a drawing. So this is a match line in the middle. Here's a key plan. It's about as simple as possible. It says, we're showing this area. Here's the match line in the middle. Show this area or that area. Your match line is in the middle. In a drawing I just did a little while ago for a civil map, a little different, somewhat related if it opens. No luck on that. Try to open it with something else. Let's just try Adobe Illustrator. Moving on for now while that opens, we'll go back to level 1 floor plan. In the new command here in the view tab, we're going to go to match line, which is over here. Select it. And let's check our properties. Make sure top and bottom constraints are set to unlimited, which they should be. In the draw panel, we're going to draw our match line. Line is already selected here, 2-point pick. And let's pick, doesn't have to be exact, but somewhere in the middle of this overlap. So I'm going to pick right about here. I'm going to pick here. And I'm going to hit escape once, and then I'm going to hit the green edit, finish edit. Now I got my match line right there. That's it on that. And we're going to learn how to change the appearance of it in a second. Might just give up on this file. Let's try this. Microsoft Edge. Never mind, I was going to show you a key plan and some more match lines on a map, but we'll get the picture here. So there's our match line. Going on to page 625, we're going to change the appearance. So I'll hit escape, go to the manage tab right there. And we're going to use a new command. Actually, I think we've used it before. Manage and object styles. Not a lot yet, but in the last chapter we did a bit. And we're in the annotation objects here. Make sure you go into this area, not the model objects, separate things. And we're going to go to the match line category here. And we're going to change its symbology, how it's shown, line weight, line color, line type or line pattern as it's called in Revit, slightly different than AutoCAD. And we're going to go in the line pattern, indeed this one, to change the type of line it is. We're going to do dash dot 3/8. And that's all they want us to change. We could change the thickness here. Remember, 1 is thinnest, 16 is thickest by default. Hit OK. Your line should look like this now. We're going to add a little text, simply put, to the right side of the match line. And that's about it, saying it's our match line. And we're going to add some view references to it as well in a minute, which the book doesn't get too detailed with that. I don't really know why they kind of left adding the references the way they did, but let's continue on and go back to level 1 floor plan if you're not in it already, which I am. We'll go to the annotate tab to add that text I was talking about. Annotate most of our text. Home base is right here, whatever view you're in. We'll accept this type property of 3/32 aerial. And let's just put it somewhere in this area. It's fine. I'll pick. And don't need to add anything else there. I'm just going to do all caps, which a lot of engineering plans are. It's not because we're yelling. It's just kind of a pretty frequent standard. So I got that. Hit escape a couple times. I can just use the rotate grip there instead of using rotate here after selecting it. I'm going to, oops, hit cancel. Did something I didn't want to do there. We select it again. Now I'm going to go to move. Just place it somewhere that makes sense annotatively. You can also use the move on here with the 4-point arrow, universal symbol for move. In this program and a lot of others. Next, we have another new command. After we place that text, we're going to go to the sheet composition panel, the view tab, which we're going to start using more in the next chapters. Here. And it wants us to go to the sheet composition panel, but we're going to go to view reference, which is a new command for us. We're going to add references to different views here. And on to page 628. Well, before we do that, the view reference panels is looking for a target view list right here, a little tricky. And we're going to say this list, I want to start with level, let's go level 1 west. And obviously the west one is over here. You don't have to put it exactly like the picture on page 628, but let's just put it here for now. It's still running, which is weird. I wasn't having it continue to run, so I hit escape and I just started over again. It didn't allow me to make just another one. So I repeated the command. So it doesn't keep letting you do the same one. Hit escape a couple times. I got both my references set up. So essentially, if you double click on it, it takes you to that view. And honestly, kind of surprised that I don't know how to graphically change these. It'd be nice if they didn't look like this, I would think. Possibly have to edit the type. No, that's not it. But if you double click them, it'll take you to the view east. Let's turn these off, and I double click this, it'll take you to the west. About the match line, right? So the match line and the view become married. Let's say I have this view in the west, and I'm going to turn off both the crops. Let's turn them all off. See how I just turned those off? But my match line disappeared and all my views showing. So I wanted those. So just showing you to turn those back on and how you want things. Kind of curious. If I just turn the annotation crop visible, those two off, does turn the match line off. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, moving on between our two split views. This will happen a lot. You might have to do this on every sheet or on every level. And there's no automatic way to do this. Unfortunately, you'd have to do it on every level on a multi-story as far as I've been learned up here. We'll learn more about adding these in the next chapter. That's what it says. Or adding symbology to them. So let's go back to level 1, which we're in. And we're going to right click one floor plan again and learn something new. We add again. We're going to do this one next, but we're going to start with create view template from this view. Say we got a view just dialed in perfect. This would be a good move to bring to other views. We're going to call this particular level 1 view, because we have it so dialed in to use at another views later, about furniture or casework. We'll see where that populates in a second. It doesn't populate in our project browser over here. I'll show you. Hit OK. And I want to apply. So here's where it ends up. Template here. We have our architectural site plan or structural framing plan. Well, we just made a custom one here. And there are different types of views. You can do them for 3D walkthrough views, ceiling plans, elevation section detail views, and which we just did, a floor plan, floor structural area plans. So you've got your 4 main categories of views here. Hit OK. We'll apply it to a new view, level 2. I'm just going to click level 2, right click it. I'm going to apply what we just made, select it. And we're just going to hit OK. So level 2 now has the same properties appearance-wise as level 1. So that's it for chapter 12. Pretty simple. Learning about duplicating views with different options, learning about dependent views and their children, learning about match lines and reference tags, and saving a view, like saving a state and time of the view and then applying it to other views quickly as we go along.